Well, in Johannesburg, the Mayor Mpho Phalatse has said in recent days that the city has allocated 930 million rand to help upgrade water infrastructure. According to Phalatse, the budget will address the water crisis in the metro by installing new water pipelines. Let's talk about this with Councillor Michael Son. He is the City of Johannesburg's MMC for Environment and Infrastructure Services. A very good afternoon to you, sir. Welcome to the program. So 930 million rand is the budget. How much of it has already been spent?
Good afternoon, Temekile, and thank you very much for having me on your show. I can certainly share a lot of figures with you, but some of the key projects that's more important in terms of having a holistic view on the capital project that we are putting into the ground. And before I go that information with you is that we need to understand a lot of the projects in terms of Joburg water are underground and tucked away, so residents may not really see what we've been putting down. For example, we've got a 93 million rand pipe replacement program. There's another asbestos pipe replacement program in the Fours area. We're spending 127 million rand on retrofitting and repairing leaks. Some of the bigger projects we have, I'll give you an example, 30 million rand in the new Crosby pump station, and 240 million rand in the Brixton Reservoir Tower and Pump Station. So these are the projects that we have lined up. And certainly we are looking at a period between the next 6 to 24 months where we already then complete those projects that are in the pipelines.
And just on that, given that the water situation is getting a lot of attention now in the media as part of a national conversation, mostly because of the recent restrictions, how long should people in Johannesburg expect they'll have to wait until the situation has actually been addressed in its entirety?
Well, the situation is really technical and interesting at the same time. So Johannesburg Water is a distribution business. So we buy bulk water from rainwater. So if bulk water cannot be supplied to us in Johannesburg Water, we don't have water to distribute. And again, we also need to look at the issues that we have. And again, that's why I mentioned those figures and capital projects to you, that we needed to ensure that we have a good working system. So when water comes through from rainwater, then we are able to distribute this water uninterruptedly to our residents. But then again, we need to work very closely with rainwater. We got the good news yesterday that the water restriction has been uplifted by rainwater. It's certainly exciting for us that our residents can now, take a breather. But we also don't want to turn a blind eye on maintenance and upkeep of the infrastructure by rainwater. They may be opposing views from rainwater, but we certainly have offered our assistance. City Power has gone there to assist rainwater to look at their programs. Johannesburg Water Team has gone there to assist them, to offer their assistance in terms of a technical nature. So we believe that it's certainly, a tripartite arrangement, an agreement that we can ensure that water situation doesn't come back as we've had, a few weeks back. We certainly want to ensure that the Joburg residents don't have to go through that experience ever again.
So there's a report recently, I think it was carried by The Citizen. Joburg Water is quoting the integrated annual report from Joburg Water, which apparently then put water losses in the metro at about 25%, translates, they say, to about 1.5 billion rand for 2020-2021. A, is that figure correct? B, why has that situation been allowed to go on for so long?
There is, in fact, a loss of water that's separated into technical and non-technical losses. So if I explain the non-technical part, you'll probably be looking at the leaks in the system, both on the ends of the municipality and also at the private residential houses. And then again, there's a theft of water coming out from the bulk pipelines. For example, the illegal miners, Zamazamas, they will break into our bulk lines to steal water to wash the ore. Then you have the technical loss. So that adds up to quite a substantial amount. So those figures I don't have before me, but there is that factual loss of water in the city of Johannesburg. And again, Temekile, this goes back to the issue of a long-term neglect in terms of infrastructure in the city of Johannesburg. This is why we needed to invest hundreds of millions of rand to go back and fix what we've got and repair the existing distribution network. At the same time, we also need to spend monies on new projects that we then don't have to keep on looking at these leaky pipes and say to both our residents and our suppliers to say that we got our end covered because we are making substantial investment. Starting from the 1st of July this year, that the budget has really only run for about 2-3 months. But we are committed to ensure that we fix a problem on our side of the end. So when water comes through from the bulk suppliers, that we can reduce these non-technical and technical losses.
Well, the criticism where there are leaks is that you don't respond fast enough. So when there is an issue about consumption, everyone then says to people, use less water in the home, don't wash your cars, don't water your gardens. But people say, well, the example being set by the city is not the greatest because they sit for hours, even days at times, waiting for someone to come arrive and deal with a reported leak.
Yes, so this is exactly why we are working to turn around and fix the city of Johannesburg. We've seen an improvement by Johannesburg Water on the turnaround on repairs to leaks and faults reported by the residents. But then again, if you look at the age of the infrastructure, I mean, I was at a repair site where the technicians, the manager showed me there were pipes as old as 103 years old under the ground of our city. And again, those pipes cannot go on forever. They need to be replaced. So, and again, this is why it is important, and I repeat, that we make substantial and adequate investment into the replacement maintenance of infrastructure. So we don't have to always tell our residents. And I, for one, I don't agree with that kind of concept that every time there's a water crisis, our residents must take the blame. Yes, it certainly is good for us to conserve water. We should not waste this valuable resource. But every time that there's a water issue, our resident then must take the blame and say, well, you are using too much water, use less so we can get over the crisis.
So why are the leaks not being fixed?
Saving water is good, but we need to fix the problems that we have at the moment.
Why are they not being fixed fast enough? Because people get tired of hearing that, well, there's an issue with the system or someone is coming out there to see this leaking pipe. They say, if that does not happen fast enough, you're fighting a losing battle.
Well, they are being fixed at the speed of the resources allow. So unfortunately, these excavations do take time. Unfortunately, if you see a leak on the pavement, it probably has to be dug up. So there is a process, but we are improving on that. In fact, you'll see a remarkable improvement if you go to our quarterly reports. But, it is not an overnight change that we can do. There's no magical wand I can wave. But we ensure that we keep on to improve the situation. And this is hence why we call it the golden repair. We need to fix things and we need to get it done faster. We also ask the residents to be patient and work with us. If there's a fault, please report it so we can get to it as soon as we can.
It's been reported that Joburg Water needs somewhere to the tune of 61 billion rand to address the bulk, if not all, of the water-related infrastructure problems at the moment, but can only raise about 8 billion rand in the next 5 years. So how much progress can you actually make when you look at that large deficit between what's needed and what can be raised, especially the 5-year time frame as well? So we're likely to see a persistent problem over half a decade, it appears.
Well, the city generates its main source of income from raised collections. There's only so much in the pot, and it has to be shared with other departments and functions in the city. So Johannesburg got a fairly big chunk out of that annual budget for the current financial year. But then again, we are not saying that because we don't have enough budget from the city itself, then we'll stop there. We are looking at alternative source of funding. There is a document that we are looking at. We are hoping to get alternative source of funding, be it, provincial, even national government, so we can speed up and expedite those repairs and replacements and maintenance, and even the capital project that we need to put down. But just to say that we're going to use the city's own money, yes, certainly it will take a very, very long time because cities' resources is constrained. We have a limited budget, but this is why we need to look elsewhere to ensure that we don't stop here because there's no money. If there's no money, we will go look for alternative source of funding.
Michael Sun, thank you for your time.